Yeah. You start. I'll.
All right, round one here. Sean, welcome on in. Legends on main, the 1K here. Round one, we got a new on the left side of the screen, and then a Reinar is going to be on the right side of the screen.
I do believe that is a KO and not a
Oh,
Reiner.
you're right. It is a KO. Yep. Yep.
That is a Marvel adult KO.
Yes. And it looks like no Marvel new on the other side. So it looks
No.
like the play is going to be to the new, if I'm not mistaken here. We'll see
Or
how this one
KO.
unfolds.
Should be a really interesting match. I believe it is favored into new a little bit, seeing how KO needs all them blues to attack and defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting matchup. New does have the disruption for KO. KO is a very interesting. No, KO's on the play, and KO's going to start with that Blood
Here we
Rush
go.
Bellows
Blood
turn.
Rush. Oh, here we go.
So discard one. If it's an attack action card, he's going to be able to draw. He's also going to get the Might off the KO ability, which he does. That looks like a Pulping to the Grave.
That looks
Draw
like a pulp.
to.
Activate KO. Get
Yep.
that might. Oh, we already had a judge call. He raised his hand.
I don't know what the judge call is. Oh, a gold pack.
Ah, that's
Ah.
right. We did do a gold pack giveaway.
There we
This
go.
was our winner.
Round
So Blood
one.
Rush draws two.
Yeah.
That looks like a couple blues.
Looks like there's a
in hand.
beast within there. Also, I want to talk about the equipment here on the KO side. Obviously, Scowling Flesh Bag, and then Savage Sash in the head and the chest slot. But it looks like it's the, not the Scabskins
Eight-pack.
leathers, but the rare equipment, which is a solid piece to kind of just like when you need to get the action points.
A second Blood Rush sack is
Double Blood Rush.
This should be a good matchup now.
Yeah. KO turn one being able to threaten and push damage onto this new is what we like, what the KO wants to be doing, especially when they're going first, and they get a setup with those might tokens as well. So we're gonna see how this turn unfolds.
I'm wondering if we're gonna see this claw come in immediately.
Yeah, Claw's gonna have go again immediately, and this is like we're gonna pitch what looks like a he is gonna send the Claw in. So that Claw's coming in for 7 with go again.
That's pretty good.
And he'll most likely, I believe he still has 2 cards in hand here, so most likely swing in another attack and then be able to set up an arsenal for his next turn, which is super nice.
It does look like the new has a Transcend card in hand. Getting a Gistanik off of block right away.
Yeah.
That is a really good card to see.
That's something don't have to worry about. There's only 3 of them in the deck. You got 1 gone. Don't got to worry about it. Like you said earlier, that Transcend card, it looks like it's the Homage in hand. Great card. Not great card to see, and that's a Bear Fangs. Draw a discard here. This Bear Fangs is going to be coming in for a lot of damage. There it is. It's Smash Instinct.
So it's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 coming in at you.
And the new is going to turn 1 equipment block.
He's going to take 2 of those equipments right away. They do have Battle Worn, which is nice, so he can use them to get... And there's a gain of 1.
So he's going to gain 1 off the Transcend. He's not going to get the Transcend and the Chi flip. But, at least he gets that card out of hand. So he's going to gain 1. And
Looks
then
like he's going to take 7.
Yep.
And then gain that 1. So take 7 in total. It's not bad. He did kind of have like a janky looking hand. It looks to be 3 reds and then the homage. So actually kind of blocking with that hand seemed like the correct move.
Yeah. I mean, I think also New is not coming in for those big damage turns like a KO would. But, just still right away, just like getting the equipment block out early. That's something that the KO is not going to have to worry about dealing with anymore. And here we go. Tunic comes up, passing over to the new here. That's looking for scrap. Looks like that's a Razor Reflex. Okay. Spicy deck here for the new.
Super Spice.
Yeah, that's not a card you
We
see
could
much of
have just
outside of
scrapped it.
Well, you used to see it in ninjas a lot. We don't really see it much anymore.
I have a lot of them in my Phi deck, Zach. They do wonders.
That's truth.
Always giving that go again with those cost or less. And then new, there's quite a bit.
Yeah, so new kind of gets to set up kind of what they want to do here, and they're just gonna come in. I can't tell what that is just off the glare there.
Believe
Is one of the
that
stealth
is the
cards.
stealth cards that if a red is banished.
Yeah, it kind of, if I'm not mistaken, it's
It
not
does
picked to
look like
pieces. I think it might be one of the Art of Desires.
it might be. I'm gonna take a quick card search.
Yeah.
To
So
find,
if it, I believe it is that Art of Desire body. So when it hits, banish the top of deck, and then whenever you banish a red card, you get a draw and gain life. The Reinar here is just gonna block out with equipment though. Actually, yeah. Now that I see that a little bit more with the off the glare, it does look like
it does look like body.
yeah.
That it is a red body.
And then
Know
goes with
that.
the venomous bite.
So it's gonna be for 6 now. Possibly 7 with that Fang Strike.
Yep.
Oh, he does not get a Fang Strike. He did not pitch a blue.
Because he pitched the razor there, revealing the top
Banish.
card.
So we'll gain
It's
a
a
life.
blue. I'm taking 3. Oh, that is that
So he'll
red. Yep.
gain a life. Yep. So drawing a card is a real
It looks like it's a
because now
prognosis, so that's going to go in Arsenal.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, new, not seeing a blue card, but he's able to set an
Little-
Arsenal and a premium Arsenal card at that. And the KO here is going to come back with a full hand and an Arsenal. So we'll see what they try to put together here, getting that Might token. And there's a Pulping to start.
So I'd like to point out, Zach, if we look at this new hand again, this is a full red hand again.
Yeah, so
If
like
I'm
News
seeing
in just an interesting position. They have that Looking for Scrap, which is a great card to be able to recycle cards in your own deck. But like again, like you said, there's a lot of reds in this deck. We've seen one blue all game, and it's that Homage that they had to play turn 1. Here's the Pulping. So Pulping's gonna get that buff from that Might token.
So he's gonna make 3 mites there off of the discard thanks to the arm pieces.
Yep.
So we got this coming in for dominated.
Yep. And if it's defended by 2 or less cards, it's going to have go again. So we know that there's not a defense reaction in Arsenal there. So this is going to get that go again. New's going to take 3 here.
Yep. This card now does have go again. He could choose to go claw for go again into something. But the KO does have 2 cards in hand, so we gotta.
I don't know the Arsenal card for the KO.
I don't either.
Yeah.
He's checking it out, so maybe he's deciding whether or not he wants to play it.
Yeah, so the KO is running the Hide Tanners in that arm slot, so that's how they were able to get the 3 Might tokens there, destroying it at instant speed. Well, not at instant speed, on the discard effect to create 3 Mites. Kind of
Here
setting up
comes
for a next
now
turn. And another Pulping. And the News is
Just
going to
choosing
take it.
Oh. So now we're going to see what this new can do with a 4-card, pretty much a 4-card hand,
Yep.
but without any blues, though. He does have 3 reds in hand, and that pros down in an arsenal. So he's going to have to pull some cheeky moves off.
And we'll see what happens here. And they're going to lead with the Looking for Scrap. Oh, no, that's a blue. Pitching a blue there, so.
It is a blue.
Yep.
Little hard to see with the red sleeves, but
Yeah.
we'll work with it.
A little bit of a glare going on with the camera here.
I wish it was a little closer down on the board, but it does fine. So thank you, Bailey, for setting up the
Yeah.
stream so we
So
could.
so the blue bonds of attraction being pitched there, um,
Yeah.
for the looking for scrap. Good play there, and then 2 floating card in hand, so potential to go with that Mistblade, getting the buff off of it, and then going with that Prognosis. Potential line there, but we'll see what happens here.
We're gonna clash here.
Ooh.
That's a Siren's Call on top. That's information now for this KO to go, hey, I know what you got on top.
Yeah, and the agility token for next turn. So KO look like they're setting up for a big turn. They have the arsenal set. They have 3 mites going, and they're gonna have an agility token.
Here we go. Spider's Bite.
So this. I think if you're in the KO the position, you're like, hey, I'll take what this is.
Hey.
You're not too scared right now if you're in the KO's spot. You do know there's a Siren's Call on top. With the go again, we'll see they will play out the Prognosis. So it's such a strong card from Miss Vale.
Such a good one.
Yeah, it really incentivizes the new game plan very well.
Now what you could do is declare blocks with your helmet to make sure they don't get this effect off. That way they can't pitch any resources.
Yep, and if there is a reaction card in hand, which I'm not sure if there was or not, it's going to prevent that from being played, or be able to pitch to the equipment to be able to get those activations as well. So,
yep.
Potentially could be a really strong play.
It's another blue, if it's a Transcend card. There we go. There's the headpiece coming down. Intimidate the last card out of their hand.
And be able to block it out, that Prognosis.
He's going to choose to pass the turn after that.
Yeah. So, New gets the Arsenal. We know that they're going to draw into at least a Siren's Call on top. And KO setting up for this big turn here with the Mites popping and the Agility tokens popping.
Whoa, what do we got coming? Something big is definitely coming down on this board, Zach. Looking at that Arsenal once again. He's been holding on to it.
Interesting. So it looks like there is a Surgical, that Siren's Call. It looks like there is a Transcend card. And then I believe it's another Just the Nick in hand for that New. So pretty solid hand.
I believe that one Transcend card is Grains That Tip the Scale.
It's such a good card.
All
the Transcend cards are so powerful on their own, but when they're played with that blue being able to get that Transcend effect, they just become so much better. We've seen that with the domination of Zen at the top of the meta. Yeah.
Do wonders.
Put you in an interesting position if you are the new player here. Oh, and here's going to be a huge swing big.
Right.
Coming in for 11 with go again. Just casual 11 with go again on that swing big.
Now, if you're looking at this as the new player, you're going, this is a lot of damage for a life total that I have now taken almost half.
Yep. We're going to see that Siren's Call block. Just trying to mitigate some damage here, it looks like. So keeping the Surgical, keeping the blue in hand. So most likely we're going to see those. Then it's going to be that play there, being able to attack with the Surgical on the news end. That's what it looks like they're setting up. But we'll see if they go with the Claw here just to chip in some more damage.
Or if he has another resource, could he do the card in Arsenal?
Yeah. Very interesting position here. New already down to 22 life.
But we also got to look. He still has all his equipment up, too.
Yep.
The KO's down to one last piece.
And we know Tunic is going to be up next turn as well.
Which will be greatly appreciated.
Yep. So you could go Tunic, pitching the blue, swinging the miss blade, and then going with the surgical after that. So pretty strong turn there if that's what the new potentially could do. Or you could use that tunic resource for a reaction off your equipment.
Looks like he's going to discard an agile windup.
Yep.
To make a might.
And that's also going to create an agility and then pass for the next turn.
He's just going, yep, I'm going to set up, keep my card in arsenal, see what I can do with it. Now we get to the new.
Yeah, so new's tunic gets to 3, which is important here, especially because it's going to be able to trigger those attack reactions that are built in for that equipment. And having a blue in hand. Looks like there was confusion maybe with the sash block. It does have a battle worn counter on it. So,
yep.
Again, this is why we need to send things to the graveyard rather than flipping them upside down, because that is technically the cloaked mechanic. And we're just going to see the surgical come in for 4, 1 floating here. That floating, very dangerous, especially with news equipment available.
And our Hale also now knows he has razors. He has siren's calls. He has all the attack reactions in the world. So now this new... He said no blocks. Ooh. This Kale's probably thinking, what do I...
How am I playing around this? Yeah, do I take the 4? We know it's going to be able to be a peek in the hand.
Use that one. We're going to give it go again off the assassin boots.
Yep. So there's that surgical there. Getting the go again off the boots. So surgical being able to look at hand on the hit is such a strong thing. Giving it go again with the Sither. Very strong play here. And then
I do believe he's asking what the Slither does because it is not in English. So... Getting a peek at that hand now. Banish the top card. And now we're gonna look at that hand.
Ooh.
He's gonna go
Silver
what do you got for
Scrated. Interesting hand here. It looks there's 2 wild rides, a swing big, and then that bear fangs.
So 3 no blocks, so he had to think about that.
Yep. So I think there's maybe an argument to block with the boots, block with the swing big, and play
possibly
potential line there. But again, you're not a really resource heavy hand there as well.
Yeah. New is thinking here, how do I get rid of the most damage probably?
Yeah. I mean, Bear Fangs is such a strong card, especially in a late game situation. Or we saw it off that turn 1 Blood Rush, where that Bear Fangs was coming in for 12, 11 damage. Turn 1, it's difficult to stop. But also the new knows that 2 Blood Rushes have been played. It's not as threatening. And here, with that go again, off the Tunic resource, being able to throw in a Death Touch, knowing that there's only 1 card in hand that can block.
Yep.
This is a really strong, nice push comeback here by this new, getting value off the equipment, and then just being able to push in a little bit more damage, knowing that this Death Touch is going to get value, and most likely we're going to see that Blood Rot token be the one given here. Taking the full 6. So interesting inclusion here, also seeing a Death Touch in a new. That's usually a card you're going to see more in an Azuri. Because they can get the Azuri swap and then be able to threaten a lot of things that way.
He might go either Blood... I think the play is Blood Rot.
Well, he's going to go to the Frailty to limit the damage off the weapon.
And the Arsenal card as well. So we got both of those now getting -1.
Yeah, and that Arsenal card, that's been there since turn 1, if I'm not mistaken. So KO's kind of waiting here. And look at the life totals here. News really come back here. Intelligent blocks be able to push in some big damage. They're only down 5 life right now. Looks like there's a Codex in the hand and a leave no weaknesses.
Correct. Those both are in hand. We have the KO coming up. We got a might and an agility popping. So we're gonna have +1 and go again on this first card as well.
Yeah, and there is information for the new about what is in the KO's hand because they were able to take the peek off that surgical. We know there's that swing big. Maybe it's just you just throw the swing big. You go for a big number here. You're not going to get really the frailty thing. Actually, I'm not mistaken. That is an inertia token, not a frailty.
Ooh. Breaking the trap. That does look like an inertia token.
Yeah, so this swing big is going to cost 1 less, and it's going to have go again. So this is coming in for 9 with go again. 2 back-to-back turns where you get to go swing big with go again. Seems fun.
Seems really good. It also is telling your opponent, hey, I'm not going to let off this gas pedal. I'm going to keep coming in with big damage numbers to try to attack.
Yep.
You're contemplating blocking 9.
Yeah, and blocking 9, it would give them a quicken token, which they could then set up for a later turn because it looks like they're going to keep that codex in hand. So getting the Leave No Witnesses to Arsenal is a really strong play.
Now, KO's looking at it going, all right, do I need to get rid of this card in Arsenal and swing some damage through? And if so, can I do it?
Yep.
Because I believe this is an inertia, like you said.
Okay, he's not going to get the value out of that Arsenal card. Doesn't really get the value off the go again there either.
Really?
And
I feel like that's kind of a tempo move the new has set up.
Yep, and we know the new is going to be able to Arsenal a codex, which is if you play Assassin, if you play Ranger, it's arguably the best card in the deck, so it allows you to set up some really strong thing. And there's also that Leave No Witnesses in Arsenal, and he's just gonna say, you know what, I'm just gonna go get this Leave No Witnesses instead.
So now not only does he get the Pondered set up for next turn as well, he's also given that frailty once again.
He gives that frailty, and because there's no Arsenal on the KO side, he's gonna have to cycle a card out of his hand and put a card from his graveyard into his Arsenal. So really, really strong play there by the new. Most likely they're going to get that Leave No Witnesses. Yeah, that's what it looks like there.
Yep. So Leave No Witness off of new. I don't think KO knows how that works. He cannot choose that card that he just put in.
Yeah, so hopefully he doesn't choose that Clash of Agility. If not, we're going to have a retroactive judge call here. But most likely we're going to see a pulping or a swing big, and it is going to be the pulping. I think I would personally, like, I know that he's grabbing the Leave No Witnesses. I would have taken a peek in his graveyard, or I would have seen it blocked with. Such a premium card to grab. It's just like, well, don't want to lose that, so here he is. He's just going to swing it on hit, banish the top card of the deck, banish that Arsenal as well.
Looking for reds here.
Yep.
He knows you got the one in Arsenal. That's a silver right there.
And New's also going to get a Ponder token off this, so it's a huge tempo swing here.
KO's now thinking, how can I get out of this?
KO's just going to take
go
this.
No blocks. So, banish Arsenal, banish top card.
Yep.
Top card is first.
Is a Wrecker Romp, and then that pulping that we saw earlier.
So he gets 1 silver off of that.
Yep.
There was a blue Wrecker Romp.
And he's going to keep the cards in hand here. But again, remember that blue is also a card that's playable off New's hero ability. We haven't seen New transcend yet this game. So we'll see what happens. Life total is getting really close to even.
We went from a 7 gap to now a 2-point gap in life total difference.
And again, it looks like, again, another Razor in hand. Here comes a Wild Ride.
Coming in with that Wild Ride. Evens.
This Wild Ride
does have go again, I believe.
Yep. The frailty token's not going to affect it. It will affect the weapon if he decides to swing with it.
Yep. But if you're the Zach, do you see what I see in that new hand?
I see a Razor Reflex.
I also see a Siren's Call.
Yeah. So those two cards right there are a pretty strong combo, if you ask me. He's going to block with the Razor, it looks like.
And the Siren's Call.
All right, well, taking away our fun. But it is able to keep a 2-card hand.
It is coming in with that claw for 2.
Yeah. So that frailty token.
I do believe, Zach, that is Siren's Call number 2 now.
I believe that is Siren's Call number 2 and Razor number 2 as well. So we'll see what happens. It looks like there's a Codex of Blood Rot in hand. And I can't tell the other card there. So interesting deck here for the new. Seeing some cards that we don't normally see played with that Codex of Blood Rot, with those Razor Reflexes, and New's putting on a good defensive effort here to claw back into the game after that huge lead from that KO.
Command and Conquer.
So this is just 6 damage. There's no arsenal.
This is just in a generic 6. The Cattle's probably looking at it going, do I just take this? And if so, how much can I do back?
Yeah. And you are going to have a Might token popping on your turn. So we'll see if they block this out, or if they just say, you know what, it's 6 damage is 6 damage. I need to swing back, force you to block, play off a 1-card hand. And we'll go from there.
Note, Zach, he also... Oh, he's choosing to block.
He blocks it out.
He is also choosing to pitch that Codex of Blood Rot.
Yeah, so that's on the bottom of the deck there. New again with another arsenal. And then here comes the Smash Instinct.
So we are going to Intimidate.
Yep. Interesting play here by the KO, deciding to block that CNC out when it really was just threatening damage. Again, they're not setting up an arsenal. So we'll see how this works. Looks like there's a Desires in hand for the new. A Venomous Bite, I believe.
And a Transcend card, possibly?
No, it's a Prognosis, I believe.
Oh, it is a Prognosis.
Or maybe a Just the Nick. I can't really tell. Those red sleeves giving us a little glare.
Yeah.
But he's going to block 3 here.
Yep.
Taking 3 down to 16.
Now the question is, what can this new do to this KO?
Yeah, so the new's coming back with a 3-card hand and an arsenal.
With, I believe, a Tunic up.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Yeah, so that is a Prognosis in hand.
We also got to remember, he still has his arm piece.
Oh, and here comes the Prognosis. Yep.
So we definitely know it's either going to be a Transcend card or a card that gives Go Again.
We've seen this card before.
We know how
quick little reminder of it. Such a strong card. Banish the top of the deck. And then you also get to look at your hand. So again, very similar to what Surgical Extraction does.
But instead of silver, you gain life.
Yeah, and life is such a strong mechanic here. So coming in, it's just 1.
Just 1 for now.
Yeah.
New's going, hey, I just got a tiny little knife. It's nothing.
This is the second Prognosis we've seen.
This is number 2. I believe that is a Hiss in hand for the new. The card on the right hand.
It does look like one, yes. And I think it's one of the Desires is that left card there. It looks like a foil. And there we go. Venomous Bite from Arsenal.
So it is a blue, so we will get the effect.
Yep.
Getting that Fang Strike in hand. So this is now up to 4 damage.
And there's the Fang Strike.
Fang Strike, that goes up to 5.
And he is
6,
going to
7,
play the
8.
hiss. Wow.
So this came in for 1. And then he morphed this little tiny knife into a sword. Because this is now hitting for 8.
That's a big damage. And again, he gets to look at hand. He banishes a card off the top. It's a Bear Fangs. But there's a CNC in hand, a Reckless Swing in hand.
2 CNCs in hand.
A Clash of Agility.
He's got options, Zach.
He has a lot of options here. You can banish.
He also have a Slither to go in the next turn as well.
Yeah, he's going to have an arsenal set up. You could banish the Reckless here. An opportunity to give yourself the Reckless and to kill the KO with Reckless, because that's funny. I don't think that's the right play. But also look at this. That's a 3 red hand with that Reckless Swing.
I think he's going to opt for a CNC.
Yeah.
Because then he knows, hey, that's 1 gone. I know you have the other.
Yep.
So I'm also going to get that 1 life.
Yeah.
Off
He also, he banished the Bear Fangs off the top, and he banishes a red card as well. Again, just getting rid of threats here is what that New's doing. He knows what the hand is. Clash of Agility is not a card you want to put in your arsenal if you're KO. So definitely. KO is now like, okay, what do I do here? What's the plan? What's the situation? We do have that CNC.
We also, Zach, now the New is ahead in life.
Mm-hmm.
He's now saying, hey, I'm going to take control.
New just playing that tempo, good blocking game. Gets themselves in a nice strong position here. Up 2 life.
And a card out in hand.
Yep.
So this cat now has to play with a 3-card hand, which is always a very good thing to have on an opponent.
Yeah. And no arsenal.
And I do believe he still has his arm and headpiece as reactions. Coming in with that Command and Conquer.
Command and Conquer for 6, threatening that arsenal. And now, there's a Levels of Enlightenment in the New's hand. So
there is. We do know what is in the arsenal. It is a Slither. So the New here looks to be opting to keep it. You are right, Zach. That is a Levels of Enlightenment.
And then it looks like the KO is going to be arsenaling that Clash of Agility. So blocking out, protect. Arsenal is that Clash. This is the first time in a couple turns the KO has been back on Arsenal. And that Levels looking for scrap. So we'll see what happens here.
I believe if you're the New and you kind of want to set up an Arsenal, you go Bitch, Dagger. Oh, he's going to break Silver.
Draws a card.
Now the question is, what did he draw? Looks like another scrap. Use Tunic.
Potentially. Tunic floats a resource, and then another scrap. Yep.
I'm wondering if he got 2 scrap in hand now. Yeah. I'm looking at this as a KO going, this is a generic 4. It could be Razor Reflex at most. I'm going to take this.
Yep. So it's taken down to... It was 5 there, so it goes down to 10.
He is going to probably react to give it a go again.
Double go again. You don't actually get 2 action points, but, I was just a way for New to clear the Arsenal, and then they were going to put their final looking for scrap into Arsenal. And then again, here
this KO, though,
comes the
now
KO.
4-card hand and an Arsenal. So he's got options.
And a Blood Rush turn.
On Blood Rush.
So
New
if we
looking
look
at this,
at
probably going, oh no.
if we
That
look
is 2 transcend cards in his hand.
Yeah, two Transcends cards, and they're two very strong Transcends cards. There's a Passover, and then the Rising Sun, Setting Moon.
Yep.
Really, really powerful cards there.
Draw 2. We're going to have a KO trigger. Getting a might, possibly,
Yep.
if
That's
he
going to
remembers.
float for the next turn. Ooh, he's going to use... Interesting play here.
I believe the KO is for getting to make a might.
Yeah.
1 damage is quite a lot during these last grindy bits of the fights. Command and Conquer. Once again coming down on this field. Oh, here we go. Getting the might. We're not remembering. But I do believe this command... Does this have go again? That or...
It does not have go again.
And it does not get a +2.
No. So it's just threatening...
Arsenal.
And block with the Tunic here.
3 sticks.
Interesting play by the KO. Okay, that's so Beat and Trackers is that arm piece there.
Leg piece, but yes.
Okay, so he might. Okay, so he destroyed the Beats and Trackers, and he gave himself an action point off the discard of the Blood Rush. So there was no go again off the Command and Conquer, but it did. There was a floating action point behind it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a claw for 5 go again.
Yep. And
with
again,
1 card in hand and 1 card in arsenal.
That's a surgical in hand. The new wants to hold on to that surgical, and they wanted to protect their arsenal as well, if we notice that. So we'll see what happens here, because it was that looking for scrap. So there is a line, 2 blues in hand, to be able to go looking for scrap, pitching one of the blues, and then you use the other, and then you... Ooh, he's just going to play the Rising Sun, Setting Moon here to kind of filter his hand.
Possibly putting that no block card to the bottoms here to mitigate some damage.
Yeah. All right. So he filters.
Now he is filtering. That looks like a death touch.
Yeah.
So take 5, down to 12, and we're back to this 2-point damage.
And then there's the Clash of Agility from Arsenal. 6.
So we're going to come in for 6.
Actually, no, it's a brute card, so it's going to get the benefit of Blood Rush.
So this is going to be 8. This is a lot of damage pushing through for this KO.
Yep. Yeah, interesting play by the new there with the 2 Transcend cards in hand, with the blue and that surgical. There was a world where they could go Mistblade, pitching a blue into the surgical, pitching the. There were lots of options available to them, or that looking to scrap. So like interesting that they decided to not have a Transcend turn, and they destroyed their mask in the process. So they were really valuing that Arsenal card.
Mm-hmm. The new here choosing to take that 8 down to 4. The KO is now out of equipment, but he does have a might token.
Yeah. And if we look at it, the new still has 1 equipment piece left.
Yeah. He's got them arms. Those little Fang Strike that comes in for that extra 1 to damage something over.
Yeah. There's the Prognosis getting banished, so...
It's going to be 5 with go again.
Yep, and then you're going to be able to go into the surgical, is I think the plan here. So 5 plus the 4 from the surgical, so threatening 9 here, and an opportunity to strip cards from hand. This has been a wild game so far.
This is a really tight game. Both players are playing very well. Oh, here we go.
The reckless swing. It does
Does get a
connect.
hit. So we're
Takes
gonna
2.
shoot the opponent for 2. He is going to take 2 off of that.
And there's the surgical.
Sir.
Mmm.
Now, KO, you're probably thinking,
Why
I
did it?
could block with 2 cards in hand, and if I still have that blue, I still have a claw coming in for 4.
That's true.
That's gonna threaten 2 cards from hand, or 1.
At least 1, but like you're in double reckless swing territory. We saw one pitched earlier, so I'm not sure if the KO is on 2 or 3 reckless swings. If they're on 3, you know that other one's just somewhere in the deck.
We also got to think that if he chooses no blocks, there might be a big attack coming from behind this.
Yeah, if he goes no blocks, also the surgical is going to be able to strip a card from hand as well. So really interesting position.
He does only have 2 cards because he blocked with that D-React.
Yeah. I bet the KOs right now kicking themselves being like, why did I have to block the looking for scrap when I could just easily cleanly block the surgical with the reckless swing. Interesting situation here.
Looking through the graveyard, seeing what they have left of Fates against. And seeing that all 3 blood rushes are gone. He just nodded his head to that.
Alright, we'll see how this blocking... What is the blocking decision here? Oh, he's going to take it. He takes the 4.
Cleared no blocks here. Bench top card.
It is a Beast Within. And then a
Doesn't
card
hit.
from hand.
Ooh. Options, options, options is what I'm looking at. This KO might not get to utilize this might token.
I think KO is going to lose their might token here. They're not going to have any resources created off anything. Nu's making a decision here. They banish the pulping.
Open. So now he gets to keep the mighty windup, I believe it is.
Yep. So there's a word where you discard the mighty windup to just kind of filter a might token for your turn. But you're at the life total where
threatening this claw is very lethal now. So we got this claw coming in for 4. Looks like it levels a command and conquer and 2 others.
And leave no witnesses, and it looks like maybe a Just the Nick or Bonds of Agony, Prognosis.
Hard to tell with these.
It looks like Nu's gonna go for a 1-card block. They're gonna take themselves down to 1.
I believe that's the leave no witness blocking as well.
Yeah.
So we do have to now say this. If this KO is running more than one of the D-Reacts, this will be coming in for a game if the Nu is not careful enough.
Yeah. Now you're playing around the reckless swing. Nu needs to finish the job here. There's going to be no arsenal on the behalf of KO, which means that CNC is threatening them very little if it comes on in. So we'll see what happens here.
I'm thinking he's going to go Levels of Enlightenment, pitching it to break that silver.
Interesting. It does look like a Bonds of Agony. I think it's going to be the Bonds of Agony. You pitch, and because you still have your equipment piece up to be able to create that Fang Strike.
Yep, he still got that 1 extra damage come through.
Remember, destroying the equipment and playing the Fang Strike counts as 2 separate attack reactions, which is going to get the double trigger for that Bonds of Agony.
But we do need 3 for Bonds of Agony.
For its full effect, but there are, other effects available to it.
Looking like we're coming in for this misplay. Is that just a Nick? It is a Bonds of Agony, isn't
It
it?
is the Bonds of Agony.
So coming in for that beckoning Mistblade saying, "Hey, you either block it or you don't."
So this is also you could then run levels after. If this hits, you can go levels. Levels is going to have go again and the potential to draw a card off of that. Lots of options available here. This is actually a huge decision point.
I think if you're the new here, Zach, and this hits, you go levels, pump, draw a card.
Yep.
Because now this threatens the extra 1 damage.
And that's what he's
off
going to
of
do.
that.
So levels gets +1.
So he chose draw a card.
Yep. So this is 4 with go again. So it gets the +1 from the Mistblade, and it gets go again from the Mistblade. We know there's a CNC in hand. Obviously threatening lethal here. So KO has to block this.
If he drew a blue, this CNC can come right down on the board right away.
And then blocking with the Mighty Windup going down to 2. If it's a blue in hand, you can send the CNC. It's
CNC.
a blue in hand. 1 floating. No blocks left in hand for the KO.
He's got a 3 block left.
And the Bear Fangs. And that's going to be the game. New takes it. New also did have the 1 floating to be able to play the Fang Strike. So,
yep.
Just a really difficult position for Kano to play that out. What a match there. That's round 1. We're starting off with a bang.
Of the Legends on Main 1K. What a great way to start off the tournament.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this unfold. Lots of news here. We'll have a meta breakdown for that second round, so just everyone's on the same page there. But yeah, seeing a new take that, like we said earlier, the life total at one point was 22 to I think 38 in favor of the KO, and KO just eventually just wasn't able to have those big damage turns.
He kind of just ran out of gas at one point. And then the new prioritized off of it and turned it to the game where he goes, "Hey, I'm turning this corner. Let's see what happens."
Yeah, and New was able to just really strong 1-2 card hands, be able to make strong plays there. That's a great round 1. So Sean, we'll get ourselves set up ready to go, and we'll be back with round number 2.